Okay, so next up is this 2017 Z06 convertible. This is a car that we have done work on in the past, and the owner is very much like us, very anal, doesn't want to take it to just anybody to do basic things, because unfortunately the basic things are usually the ones that get overlooked, and the people working on them say, it's no big deal, it's just an oil change, let's just rush this thing and get it done, and that's when the problems can start. So this is getting pretty simple fluid changes. We're going to do the clutch fluid, which we've talked about in the past in our past videos. Very important to flush the clutches on these cars. And of course, brake fluid flush and an oil change. You can see how nice it keeps this car. This is a black car, so you know these are tough to keep clean, but he really stays on top of it. And I believe this was color corrected and ceramic coated by Billy at Presidential, which is Billy's the one that did the white Corvette for me. So of course that makes life much easier. When it's really clean and it's got the ceramic finish, it really does repel the dust and dirt, and it's much easier to wash without doing damage to the paint. We'll get this up in the air, kind of show you around it. We'll show you the exhaust system that we did on this car. Maybe we'll get some sound clips at the end. We're just going to start it, and then when the owner picks it up, maybe I can get the owner to take off down the street so you can get a sound clip, because it sounds absolutely wonderful. So one of the important things about raising this up on a lift is you need these pucks. They're super cheap and available everywhere. Everyone makes them. These are the ones I like because they're rubber, they're grippy. This actually lines up with a slot in the frame. Just put them in the frame, you give them a twist, they sit there, gives you 4 perfect points to lift the car. It's where the factory has designed you to lift it. And we're going to do the Mobil 1 040. This is what they call the European formula. It has a little bit more zinc content. Talked to a handful of guys that track their Corvettes, and they're still swearing by this stuff. It's what I've run in my Corvettes for years. Of course, I like either the GM or the Mobil 1 filter. We have a couple of different options for this, but the reason for these is this brake is so huge. The caliper is close to the wheel, and when you take these lugs off, you pull this wheel back, there's a good chance of dropping the wheel on the caliper and scratching the caliper. So these 2 little handy rods that you take the lugs off, screw those on, you take the rest of the bolts off, and then you can slide the wheels on those pins. So you can see on the caliper, I think that's just actually a little bit of road grime. Yeah, we'll wipe that off. But usually over here is where the wheel gets dropped and it gets scratched on here. And if you're really into your car, which I mean most car guys are, you don't want these beautiful calipers all scratched up from someone that was just rushing. So it's definitely a good point to do that. You see how big that brake is? It's a massive brake. So we've been asked about this, and I want to address it. A lot of people say, why don't you guys use fender covers? That's just really a good idea. You protect the paint. Well, the problem is with the fender cover, when you put it on here, and if you move it, whatever is possibly on the fender or on your cover, you sit there and rub it into the paint. And years of working on these, if you position the car so you don't lay or touch the fender, you're safer than putting a fender cover on. But we're going to be addressing the brake fluid here, so we want to have some layer of protection between it and the paint. Now, if the paint was perfectly clean, another good option is to use like a heavy-duty saran wrap, which we have. But again, this has been driven on the road, so if the saran wrap sits on there, you could trap the contaminant. So what we're going to do for this is I got some brand new microfiber towels, and what we're going to do is put a layer of these across the fender like this. These are brand new towels, just came out of the packet. We're going to layer the fender here, then put a fender cover on it, so this is actually sitting on here. And again, it's not so we can lay on it, it's just so we have a layer of protection if fluid does happen to get dripped between here and here. We don't want it getting on the paint. So first thing we're going to do is flush the clutch. This does get contaminated, which most of it ends up sitting on the cap, which you can usually do a close inspection and see what is getting on there. so we are trying to get everything finished before SEMA. George and I leave on Saturday. Today is Friday. The Insight just left beginning of the week. The red S2000 is going back to Nevada. It just left yesterday after dealing with 2 trucks. That is a whole fiasco in itself. I want to make a video on that car, and I'll show you at the end the amount of headache it was trying to get that car on the truck, and the first guy just took off. So it's actually kind of funny afterwards, but it's kind of crunch time, and part of going away is you don't want to leave any loose ends. I'm the type of person that wants everything taken care of. I want my customers happy. I want cars out. I want anything in the shop. There's no reason for a car to be taking up space in my shop when it could be taking up space in the customer's garage, and better yet, him driving it. That's what it's all about. I don't make any money cars sitting, and that doesn't help the customer. All right, so does anybody know what kind of car this is? I don't want to shout out at once. It's an S2000. So this pipe here is a 2.5 inch. He wants this changed into 3. He's obviously upped his power goals. Everything's making more power. I know he's changed the intake manifold. I think he's had a couple of different turbo setups, but like any time you get power, you always want a little bit more. So we're going to change this. We're going to try and make this one piece, go 3 inch round behind here into here. So here we are, the new pipe is on. Again, full 3 inch, it's one piece. There is only a connector on the throttle body end and one on the intercooler end. And again, it's bead rolled. So as you see, you've got the hump right here. That way it's not gonna pull off here. We've done this to, I mean, realistically, we've tested this to 100 pounds of boost. The valve that he supplied, the precision, when we tried to install it, you tighten the clamp, the valve wouldn't stop turning, which means there's going to be a leak here. So either the flange or the clamp or something is not compatible. This is the flange you supplied, so we'll talk to him about that. George seems to think it's the clamp, because the clamp looks like it might have an issue. But so right now, the tile is on there, the pipe is on, it looks good. I'm sure he's going to take that off and powder coat it wrinkle black so it matches everything else. But we can call this customer and tell him it's done. Okay, so real quick, I want to say thank you to 2 customers. This customer right here came from Wales with his son. He actually talked to us on YouTube, and we kind of went back and forth a little bit, but thank you for bringing the HP sauce and of course the tea bags. And we gave him a shirt, and I gave his son a hat, which, I mean, that's awesome. He's like a mini car guy in the making, so it's always good to do that. And I also, I didn't get his name, but we met a customer, came from Ireland, and the cool thing about this guy, and it makes you kind of, it humbles me to hear this, and it makes me just want to, you know, try even harder. But he came by, he goes, I watch your channel, I have no interest in Hondas. Sometimes you can take that the wrong way, but if you look at it on a positive sense, he goes, I have no interest in Hondas, but I appreciate what you do and how you do it and how you interact with your customers and the way you go about working on the cars. He worked on some English car that he said everyone, you know, it's not really a popular car, but he loves it, and he puts a lot of passion into it and a lot of time to make it 110%. So it's a completely different car, but the same mindset and a shared passion. I talk about this, and once you start meeting so many people and you get this kind of feel from them, you realize it's worldwide. It's a car passion thing. It really is. So thank you to both of you guys that came by, and we're at crunch time for SEMA. Alright guys, so we are back from SEMA. We are already knee-deep in our next build. This came all the way from Virginia. He was supposed to be here early Monday morning. He didn't show up till 2:45. So now we have to do what we seem to do best. Work double hard, make extra hours rather than sitting at home eating dinner, watching TV like everyone else. We're working on a car trying to make up time so we stay on track. It's very, very important to be on time. It's something that I have really adamantly pursued since the day I started LHT. If somebody's putting their money and trust in you, even if it's the shipper's fault being late, you got to be on time. You can't give people excuses. Oh, I ran into problems. That just means you wasn't prepared, and I hate that feeling. So, talking of which, we ordered rotors, and they sent us 2 lefts for the front and back. Sorry, they sent us 2 lefts for the front and 2 rights for the back. Fantastic. So now we're overnighting 2 rotors because they have to be correct. Anyway, SEMA was a blast. We met a lot of people. We networked. We bought some tools. We bought a big ass fan. When I say a big ass fan, it's a fan that's like this tall. I'm 7'9", and it's almost as tall as me. If that's something you're interested in me doing a review on, I know there's a lot of people out there that's been like myself. They'll look at the fan, they turn it on, they go, wow, this is fantastic. You look at the price and go, you guys are out of your mind. There's got to be other people who think like that, because not everybody was walking around with a big ass fan. There's a lot of people walk by and keep going. So if that's something you're interested in me doing a review on and talking about it, comment below. Big ass fan. It's not the ceiling fan. This we call it our little butt fan. Of course, it'd be nice to have a big ass fan up there. The problem is this area here, which is where Esther throws the boxes, we have some shelves up there and some things hanging, not a whole lot, but we have a few little knickknacks. I didn't want that blade over that area, and if we were up there, one of us could, you know, lose an ear or worse from the big ass fan. So hence, it's not a big ass fan. It's a little butt fan. It just moves air. The one I'm talking about getting is, or the one I've ordered, it's like a big version of that. It's this tall, it's super quiet, moves a ton of air, and quiet is something I was interested in because everything in the shop makes a noise. So we'll see you on the next video. I'm going to post some pictures from SEMA, just kind of, you'll see. Thanks for watching, see you on the next video. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.